live in a world already changed by Christianity. We can look around our homes and our cities and our neighborhoods and see that the world has changed because of Christianity. We can delve into the digital world and find Christian movies and streaming services and social media and insurances and banking accounts and so many other things that bear the name Christian. We can go through life as a Christian and we can live it well. So many of the boundaries and the struggles of the early church are not even a vague thought in our mind as we enter into the Western world, because we can go completely under the radar. We can go to church, love Jesus, and yet still we can be included in everything that our society does. We can be Christians and do good and still be included. And as we do that, we can begin to shift from doing good because we're connected to Christ to doing good because we get good. We can begin to associate the word Christian with prosperity. And we can begin to forget what the message of 1 Peter is. You see, in 1 Peter 4:12 through 17, the author writes, "Beloved, do not be surprised at the fiery ordeal that is taking place among you to test you, as though something strange were happening to you. But rejoice insofar as you are sharing Christ's sufferings, so that you may also be glad and shout for joy when his glory is revealed. If you are reviled for the name of Christ, you are blessed, because the Spirit of glory, which is the Spirit of God, is resting on you. But let none of you suffer as a murderer, a thief, a criminal, or even a mischief maker. Yet if any of you suffers as a Christian, do not be considered it a disgrace, but glorify God because you bear this name. For the name has come for judgment to begin with the household of God. If it begins with us, will be the end for those who do not obey the gospel of God." We can begin to think that as a Christian we're not going to suffer, and begin to be surprised when we do suffer. But the story that's painted for us in Peter is the complete opposite. 1 Peter uses some form of the word suffer more than any other verse, any other book of the New Testament. And what it means is that the author is beginning to see the trajectory of Christianity. They're being able to see the trajectory of the early church, and they're seeing that it's very different than the society around them. Peter sees that the Roman world lives in a culture that creates a god out of anything and everything. That every day begins with some sort of sacrifice. And if you're going to be a Christ follower, you're not going to do that. And so Peter sees that there's going to be a reckoning. Not some sort of government-sanctioned suffering, but that the culture itself is going to revile Christians. That they're going to see a group of people who are crossing too many boundaries for them to be comfortable with and do something about it. Government-led suffering will come later. This is a much more grassroots. This is a rejection of the people who are in the community. The communities that people who are following Jesus thought they belonged to threw them out. It was not a death by the sword, but a death by 1,000 cuts. It wasn't humiliation in the Colosseum. Instead, it was social isolation in the communities that they thought they belonged to. You see, this type of suffering is the type of suffering that Peter is saying sometimes it doesn't have a reason. Because most of the time we can get through the suffering. But we get through the suffering because we jump to the coping. We jump to the point where we say, this is why, or this is the reward. But Peter is saying, sometimes there's not a real reason. Sometimes there's not a reward. Instead, there is going to be a time. There's going to be a time soon when you will suffer and there won't be an answer. Where you will suffer and there won't be good that comes of it. But instead, you are going to suffer, you're going to love God and carry on. Because there's nothing else to do. You're going to be asked, what are you going to do when you have nothing left? Are you going to do good, be a good human, and love God even when everything is gone? There will be a time when the word Christian is going to cause suffering. And this is at the heart of true Christianity, of bearing the word Christian. Is that you've crossed so many boundaries. Is that you've chosen to do good even when doing good doesn't produce good things. Because it's one thing to do good when you get a reward. It's one thing to cross boundaries when that turns out good. It's a completely other thing to do good and to continue to cross boundaries in Jesus' name when you know that's just going to bring more suffering. That's truly bearing the Christian name.